Hi, welcome to Chapter 3. How does gender affect the monster? So this is our assignment sheet, the prompt, if you will, for our next essay. As usual, it begins with the following. Write an essay in which you respond to one of the following questions. And then we have 7 different authors with several questions. So there's roughly a dozen, maybe even more, possible questions for you to use for your writing assignment. Please, however, make sure you're using one of these questions and not one of the discussion thread questions, which are, in fact, different questions. Okay. Now, the paper is due on Monday, November the 30th. That might sound like a long time away. And it kind of is in some ways. But don't forget, we have an entire week off right before that. Now, some people will be working hard on their essays. Other people may not be. So you better plan on what you're going to do. Are you going to use that week to hustle up and put together your final draft, or you want it done before you go off to some wonderful, fabulous vacation? Be sure to follow the out-of-class essay guidelines for all matters of form and style, as usual. Remember, please, this includes things like don't use the word you, don't use the personal pronoun I or we or any of the other forms. Okay, that's one of the things that it talks about. Also, don't use colloquial language. That's another thing it talks about. Also, don't pose questions. Answer them. I'm seeing a lot of sloppy writing still. And by sloppy, I mean not really paying attention to the out-of-class guidelines. They're pretty clear and simple, and if you ever have any questions, please don't hesitate to ask. Come to my office hour, Monday through Friday, 10 to 11 in the morning. Be sure to include a word count at the end of your essay. Okay, most of you are doing that. Thank you. Remember, you must meet minimum requirements, including word count, sources, and subject matter. As always, no late essays are accepted without a signed doctor's note or other verified legitimate excuse. Now, as we've done in the past, please submit a thesis statement and a topic outline to Canvas by Friday, November the 13th, 11:59 p.m. And no, I'm not superstitious, so don't worry about it. Please make sure you have MLA citation entries for 3 of your sources. 3 sources that you'll be able to use in your essay. And again, none of them should be from our textbook, right? This has got to be from outside, preferably from the Mesa College Library databases, but you could use other sources as well. A participation will be assigned for this. Remember, this is your opportunity to tell me what you're going to write about, and it's my opportunity to give you some early feedback so that I can tell you if you're going wrong or if you're doing something very, very well, and maybe how to even improve it on top of that. The class will, of course, be divided into groups of 3 or 4 on Canvas. At this point in the semester, probably I'm aiming for 4 in each group. Look for those early after Friday. They'll be coming up probably Monday or Tuesday of that following week. Your rough draft will be submitted to the Canvas work group and to me by Wednesday, November 18, 11:59 p.m. Okay, always got to remember it has to go both to your group and then comes to me. You must submit both to get full participation points, right? This is our 3rd time through, so I'm hoping everybody kind of understands this at this point. After you get those rough drafts from your peers, I'd like you to read them and then fill out peer edit guideline sheets and post those in both the Canvas work group and you give them to me as well by Friday, November 20th, 11:59 p.m. Please remember, you must submit to both the work group and to me to get full participation points. So what are the minimum requirements? Well, first of all, 1,000 to about 1,400 words. I'm going to be really honest. At this stage of the ball game, if you're turning in a 1,000-word essay, it does meet the requirements. But chances are pretty good it's not going to get an A because it probably hasn't delved deeply into the topic enough. Most of the essays that I receive that just barely get to that 1,000-word mark tend not to be very insightful or deep. They're not well developed. They're probably not well researched. So don't be having that in your head that you need to get to 1,000 words. What you should have in your head is that you need to develop your argument. When you do that, you'll get to your minimum requirements very, very easily. Please remember to use a strong essay structure, including an introductory paragraph that does three things. It hooks the reader, it introduces the subject that's going to be looked at, and it provides a thesis statement, a clear, concise, arguable statement. Questions are not thesis sentences. Vague generalizations are not thesis sentences. You need to be clear, concise, direct, and argumentative. I expect concession paragraphs. I should say a single concession paragraph in each essay. The concession, as you recall, is the opposition. If you say yes, what did the side that says no say? That's what the concession is all about. And it's really important that you have research in the concession. Just talking off the top of your head, thinking of things that people might say, is not very strong. It's actually very weak. The main body, which will incorporate rebuttal arguments typically, as well as the conclusion, which does also three things: restates the thesis, steps back and looks at the big picture, and provides a clincher. Now in this assignment, we ratchet up the research. I want you to have at least 8 sources. And 6 of those sources should originate in print or have print analogs. And our textbook does not count as one of these 6. You can use the textbook, of course, but it doesn't count to fulfill this requirement. You need to have at least 3 sources from peer-reviewed journals or excerpts from university press books. Okay, in other words, scholarly work. So beyond that 6, you can have movies, you can have websites, but it's really important that you have good quality research. And I'm seeing a lot of people stumble on this. If you're having trouble or you don't know how to use the Mesa College Library to get peer-reviewed material, I really encourage you to go back and watch my Triangle of Research videos, parts 1, 2, and 3. But probably most importantly for peer-reviewed materials, Section 2 helps us with JSTOR and EBSCOhost and finding the peer-reviewed articles. That will really help us. Finally, MLA format. In presentation and documentation, including correct works cited list. Now, a lot of you told me in your initial writings that you were familiar with MLA. I have to beg to differ, or at least familiarity may have a different interpretation. I'm seeing a lot of very poor MLA in terms of both the in-text citations and the works cited. So again, if I'm commenting on that in your second chapter paper, if I said your MLA format is incorrect, which is, I'm going to be honest, a large number of you, please go back to the MLA format sheet that I have posted here on Canvas. There is also 2 explanatory videos. 1 video for the in-text citations, 1 video for the works cited. You also have links that will take you to Purdue OWL. OWL stands for Online Writing Lab, which will show you also lots of examples of correct MLA format. And there are some videos that also describe how to do MLA format in very simplified ways, but at least it gets you going in the right direction. Failure to do that is going to kill your grade. This is really very simple. A lot of people, I think, make too much of it. Follow the directions, copy the templates, and you'll be fine. So, this is where we're headed. Gender and the monster. It's about the gender of the victims and gender of the monster itself. It's a pretty fascinating chapter, actually, if I do say so myself. Best of luck.